Listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal to you is someone who has decided to work against you in silence, and what they are preparing is not some common village binding spell, nor some cheap witchcraft that fades with a prayer. What they want to do to you is a spiritual burial, and not just any, but a macabre 3-phase ritual, woven with your own hair. Yes, you heard right. They are going to try to steal 7 strands of your hair, 7 sacred filaments that contain your essence, your vital energy, your ancestral power. Those 7 hairs are the key to your destiny, because each strand holds memories of your guardian angels, of your ancestors, of the prayers you secretly lifted to heaven. Whoever manages to pluck them or collect them from you will have in their hands a piece of your soul, and with that, they will seek to bury you 3 times. The first time will be symbolic, to cut off your paths. The second, to extinguish your spiritual light. And the third is the most dangerous because they will try to seal your destiny in damp earth with black candles and inverted crosses, as if they wanted to bury your good luck, your love, and your peace alive. But what they don't know is that you do not walk alone. You have angels with swords in hand, celestial warriors who have raised a wall of fire around your name. That is why, even though they are preparing cemetery dirt, even though their hands tremble as they write your name on blood-stained papers, nothing has touched your spirit. You feel it, because lately you've had strange dreams, premonitions that someone is watching you, shadows that seem to lurk from dark corners. It's not your imagination. It's the sign that they want to hunt you in the spiritual world. What hurts them most is your ability to get up, to shine, to be reborn from the ashes again and again, as if you were indestructible. That breaks them. They live in binding spells, burials, and chains, and you are a free soul. While they light black candles, you ignite your faith. While they murmur twisted words, you decree light. Listen carefully. Saint Michael tells me that your decree must be marked like fire on the walls of time. Write in the comments, "I am invincible under the light of Saint Michael." And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it this very instant, because Saint Gabriel announces that this simple act opens your energetic channel and unleashes the chain of blessings already waiting for you, and I am going to tell you something you might not have been prepared to hear. They have already tried to get close to you to steal that hair. Yes, someone who presents themselves as a friend, a relative, or someone who loves you has actually been planning how to take those 7 sacred strands from you, but they haven't succeeded yet. This is where you must open your eyes wide, because the danger doesn't come from afar. It comes from close by, from someone who has already earned your trust, and it will be that revelation that changes the course of what is to come. The first phase is being revealed to me, in which they will obtain the link to you. Without your eyes perceiving it, someone has been silently plotting the theft of the most intimate thing you possess, your hair. It is not an accident, it is not carelessness. It is a trap woven with patience, because whoever approaches your comb, your brush, or the strands that fall when you brush your hair, doesn't do it with affection. They do it with spiritual hunger, with the dark greed to take possession of you. That lock of hair, taken in secret, will be the trophy they place on an altar of shadows, between black and red candles, soaked in blood and alcohol, while they whisper curses in twisted tongues that invoke forces of darkness. That is the first step of the burial. They don't seek to dominate you yet. They don't seek to chain you immediately. That first phase is just the key that opens the door, the access to your energetic field, the crack through which they intend to slip in to manipulate your destiny. And believe me, they have already tried it. You have felt your energy draining for no reason, that there are days when you wake up with a heavy chest, as if someone had drained your light during the night. That is the sign. They already tried to obtain the link. What they didn't calculate is that your soul is not unprotected. God felt that attack, and in the instant your hair was taken, He returned it to you multiplied by 7. Today you are surrounded by a very high vibration, by a fire that does not go out, because the Archangel Michael, celestial warrior of the flaming sword, has planted himself at your side. Your enemies think they have weakened you, but what they have done is ignite your aura even more, which now burns with an intensity unbearable for those who live in shadows. The universe is moving, and the burials they prepared against you are returning to them with violence. Saint Michael orders you to leave this written: nothing hidden can stand against divine justice. And if your heart has not yet sealed the pact with a subscription and a like, this is the moment. Because Saint Gabriel whispers to me that only in this way does the connection expand, and the guardian angels reveal to you what comes next. Yes, they cast cursed spells, rotten invocations on altars where not even light dares to enter. Yes, they sought your name on dark candles. They pronounced twisted prayers to bury you in cemetery dirt. But they failed. You were sealed with celestial fire before they even tried to touch you, and what they sent has been returned against them. Their swords are returning, their burials are undone, and now they are the ones who tremble in front of the mirror of their own spiritual ruin. You have in your chest the energy of the sun, and that radiance cannot be extinguished with burials or binding spells. They feed on shadows, but you are living light. They get entangled in chains, but you fly free. And even if they still try to watch you from afar, they are only signing their own condemnation. Listen well to what the threads of destiny reveal. That woman who appears in your energy was not alone. It was not an isolated move. Behind her shadow walks a cold, calculating man who moves the pieces like a puppeteer. And in other cases, the poisoned woman was accompanied by another female disguised as a friend, but carrying the venom of envy in her heart. Both, like puppets of dark forces, tried to nail a seal of earth upon you, believing that with it they would destroy you. But what they ignore is that you are no longer on that board. You have left that game because your guardian angels have taken you to another plane, where nothing they attempt can touch you. Your destiny is in divine hands, not in those of sorcerers or energy barriers. Comment: My destiny is sealed in light, and subscribe right now, because the Archangel Michael is already opening invisible portals for you, and that action connects your spirit with the knowledge that has been reserved for the chosen ones. And now I must tell you something else. A figure appears in your karmic field, a tie dragged from past lives, an enemy who has not finished their cycle with you. That shadow doesn't come alone. It feeds on alliances, on dark pacts, on energies that seek vengeance against your light. The question is, what will happen when the second phase of the burial arrives? That is where they will try to extinguish your voice and seal your path with earth. My chest trembles. The energetic charge of this burial is strong, and the second phase is revealed to me, the binding of desire and destruction. The cards speak with a rawness that cuts like a knife. The hair stolen from your head, that piece loaded with your spirit, was not left in just any corner. They have tangled it in red ribbons, mixed it with the hair of the requester, and hand-sewn it inside a defiled cloth doll. That doll is your double, an adulterated reflection of you, a symbolic body that they manipulate with needles, prayers, and curses. There the binding was born, not a love spell, but an invisible chain that sought to make your thoughts become theirs, to poison your heart with obsession, with anguish, with the desperation of feeling you could not escape. What they wanted to plant in your chest is not tenderness but venom. They don't seek to love you, but to consume you. It is envy disguised as desire, greed dressed as passion. And the worst part is that they did not act alone. They went together in secret to a sorceress of shadows, someone who moves between cemeteries and binding spells, a woman who carries the experience of having worked with dark entities. They thought that with money and promises, she would open the gates of the underworld against you. But what they didn't expect was what happened in that instant. I feel the vibration of the sun beginning to descend upon you, but to keep it firm, you need to leave it engraved in this place. Right, Saint Michael. Open my paths and break my chains. Subscribe now if you haven't already, because Saint Gabriel repeats to me that your action in this channel opens the invisible door where wisdom and protection descend directly to you. When that old witch laid her eyes on your aura, when she saw what truly shines in your energetic field, she felt a chill run down her spine, and she backed away. With a broken voice, she said, "Your money is worthless against that soul. I cannot touch her. She is sealed by something that not even I understand. It was the fire of your guardian angels that made her tremble. It was the radiance of your spirit that made her refuse, because even in the deepest darkness, your light shines like a bonfire that cannot be put out. Your celestial protection is so intense that even in that place, thick with dust, black candles, and energetic burials, they could not pronounce your name without the atmosphere shattering. However, this doesn't mean you haven't walked through the fire. You were close to the abyss. You felt the betrayal, the silence of the early mornings, the heaviness in your body, the tears that fell without explanation. That was the brush with the second phase of the ritual. They tried to break your spirit. They tried to damage your health with malignant vibrations. They wanted to sink you in a sea of despair. But God has been cleansing you. He has burned with celestial fire every rope that tried to tie you. He has undone every seam of the doll they made with your hair. While you cried in solitude, believing you were broken, your guardian angels descended in the night to cover you, to raise a wall of light around you. Comment now, "I am being liberated," and subscribe, because the Archangel Gabriel shows me that this action will be the key that opens the channel of light through which your restitution will enter. What was taken from you is returning, multiplied. Your energy, your peace, your emotional stability, and even your finances are being restored. That sticky sadness you carried in your chest, that dark thought that appeared from nowhere, that inexplicable exhaustion, it wasn't yours. It was sent, it was launched like arrows from an altar of hate, and today it is being ripped out by the roots by the divine hand. I see clearly a man consumed by envy, someone who doesn't stop pronouncing your name with rage, a being who has cursed your life more times than you can count. And at his side, a silent, venomous woman who feigns calm, who wears a smile, but who inside only holds one desire, to see you fall. Both went again to another witch to reinforce the evil, but this second one expelled them harshly. She slammed the door in their faces and said, "That soul is surrounded by divine fire. I won't mess with that. Comment now. My soul is sealed with divine fire." And subscribe, because Saint Michael is using your words as a sword to seal your victory. But what they are showing me now is even more disturbing, because although 2 witches have already refused, a third character has begun to observe your destiny, a figure who is not frightened by the flames. Someone who, instead of retreating, smiles upon seeing the light you carry. That is the third phase, the most dangerous attempt, the final burial with which they seek to extinguish you forever. The energy amplifies to show me the third phase of the final sealing. Here lies the most macabre point of the ritual, the phase where the barriers of your energy seek to lock away your destiny. With the doll finished, sewn with your hair and that of the requester, they head to a crossroads in the middle of the night. There, amidst damp, cold earth, mixed with cemetery remains, they bury it as if they wanted to bury your soul. The words they pronounce don't cry out for love or tenderness, but for destruction. They demand your body, your will, your spirit, not to grant you union, but to strip you, to wear you down, to reduce you to ashes. That is the closure, the dark seal that intends to chain your life in a 3-layer spiritual burial, where your light would be consumed completely, if it weren't for the fact that something greater was already waiting. The card vibrates in my hands. Its figure jumps, it moves, it burns, even if you don't see it, because it responds to your energy. What was meant to be your ruin, what was meant to be the final stab, becomes the announcement of your rebirth. Because the very instant they put dirt on that doll, the vibration of heaven descended upon you, and what they believed was a seal was actually the breaking of the chains. Listen well. That exhaustion you carry in your body, that ailment that seemed to have no explanation, that fear that appeared in silence like a sticky shadow, it wasn't yours. They were residues of energetic burials, of binding spells launched against you, of curses rotted by the envy of those who cannot stand to see you shine. But it's too late for them. You are coming out of the gloom, crossing the veil of darkness into an awakened, blessed, unbreakable existence. The reading shows me with brutal clarity. You are about to witness a tangible miracle, a fierce and evident change that will impact your body and your spirit. For some, it will be a surgery that finally goes perfectly. For others, a pain that seemed unhealable, and that will disappear without explanation. For some, a fear that had poisoned their mind, and that today will be ripped out like a dry root. The impossible becomes easy, because God has already decreed your healing. Subscribe and comment. Saint Gabriel opens the path for me, because that proclamation activates the channel of healing that is already descending upon you. The angels descend with swords of fire, cutting ties, burning bindings, returning to their owners the curses they dared to invoke against you. What seemed like the end for you will be the beginning for them, the beginning of their spiritual ruin. It was not a clean journey. It was not a simple path. You have had real, palpable, venomous opposition. A person with a dry soul, full of resentment, cold inside, tried to block your path. It doesn't matter if they were a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. What matters is their twisted mind, their rotten intention. They took the most intimate part of you to a black altar, in a cave of witchcraft where whispers mix with bones and graveyard dirt. There, they wanted to bury you on the spiritual plane. But what happened was an act of divine power. The witch who received your photo, your name, your essence, shuddered. She felt a chill run down her spine, her body paralyzed, unable to even stick a single needle into your image. She knew, in that instant, that she was surrounded by a fire that does not belong to this world. With trembling hands, she returned the money and said, "Not even with dark pacts can this light be touched. Comment now. I am under the shield of celestial fire, because the Archangel Michael is watching you, and whoever proclaims those words will receive the touch of his protective sword." And here comes the most disturbing part. That person who wanted to curse you did not walk alone. They were accompanied by a poisoned woman, a karmic spirit who has spent years ruminating on hatred in silence. That infernal duo was rejected not only by the witch, but by the spiritual space itself. The damp earth, the black altar, the invoked shadows, everything closed its doors to them as if it couldn't stand them. They were spit back out, rejected by the very plane they tried to call you to. And in that instant, the warning was clear. Don't mess with that person anymore, because if you do, you will awaken your ruin. But what the cards are showing me now, what is vibrating with force, is even more sinister. Because while these figures retreated, humiliated, another, older, and darker presence began to move in the shadows. Observing you, Saint Michael makes himself present, and I feel him right now in this room. His immense wings have unfurled. The air changes. It ignites. My chest burns as if pierced by sacred fire, and my voice trembles in his presence. He is descended because what I am seeing is too strong for me to say alone. It needs his sword. It needs his shield. Listen well, because this is not a simple story. It is a direct warning. You would still be here in front of me, eyes wide with terror, because that ritual they attempted against you was not completed. They didn't manage to close the final word of the spell. Perhaps the envy with which they tried to feed it was too impure to be sustained. Perhaps your spirit resisted with more strength than they ever imagined. But the truth is that a dark thread remained, a binding that never fully sealed. And in that crack, in that crevice they left open unintentionally, is hidden the only possibility of freeing yourself completely. Because you are not alone. You are shielded with a power that isn't bought at altars, nor learned in grimoires, nor stolen from cemeteries. That power is ancestral, divine, sealed in your soul since before you were born, and now it is awakening like a volcano. What they wanted to do to you no longer has power over you. That infernal chapter is closing, and what you have always awaited is coming. Divine justice. Prepare yourself, because the hand of God is going to move in your story. Miracles are coming. Radical changes are coming. A new energetic order is coming. No one will be able to stop you, because what was a prison becomes a path. What was a burial is transformed into a resurrection. What they are showing me now is conclusive. There was a clear warning. The entities that guard the portals, the forces that not even the oldest sorcerers can control, spoke to those who wanted to harm you. They told them, if you continue, you will destroy yourself. And it wasn't just one. It was 2, even 3. Pestilent energies that united to dirty your life with cursed thoughts, with curses hidden in sighs, with venom disguised as a smile. And now the prophecy is being fulfilled. They are being devoured by their own darkness. Every evil wish they launched was returned to them like a whip. Each burial they prepared is now their own grave. Each binding spell they sowed is now tightening around their throats. Because you, with your faith, with your celestial shield, with the strength of your guardian angels, cannot be broken. Many have felt it, and you lived it too. The chronic fatigue for no reason, the nameless sadness, the blockages that appeared suddenly. All of that was real. Invisible forces touched your aura. They wanted to pierce you, but they could not enter. Your guardian angels prevented it, and now they are celebrating. Now they tell you, you have already overcome. The Archangel Michael places his shield over you and tells me that the decree must come from your mouth and your hand. Declare in the comments, "The light of Saint Michael protects me day and night." And if you are not yet subscribed, do it now. because it is Saint Gabriel himself who asks you to activate that button. It will be the sign that your energetic channel remains lit and ready to receive the next revelation. The wheel of destiny has turned. Everything is beginning to move in your favor. The water of Cancer and Pisces, the fire of Scorpio and Leo, signs that vibrate in this reading, are coming to seal your new cycle. Intuition, passion, rebirth. It is the beginning of a stage where your name will be protected in the invisible and your life in the visible. But listen very carefully, because I haven't said the most delicate part yet. Someone close, someone who shares your table or your blood, someone who walks in your circle has wished for your death in silence. From envy, from resentment, from that venom hidden behind a hypocritical hug. That figure vibrates in your reading like a camouflaged shadow, like a sleeping serpent that has moved near you for far too long. And what the cards are showing me now is chilling. That enemy doesn't come alone. It feeds on an ancient pact, on a resentment dragged from another life. By the grace of God, at this moment, the Virgin of Fatima also makes herself present. Her white mantle covers this room, and I feel her light piercing the veil of shadows that tried to trap you. She asks me urgently, and without delay, to deliver this message to you. Because what is vibrating around you is not a simple spiritual rumor. It is a direct revelation. There is a shadow stuck to you. A figure who disguised themselves with affection. Someone who said they loved you with sweet words, but in silence wished for your ruin, cultivating a venomous hatred like a snake hidden in the heart. In many cases, this energy connects to an old love, a person you kissed, to whom you opened your soul and entrusted your history. Someone who left but not in peace. They left cursing you in secret, as if your light had blinded them. That being who once shared your breath, left your life with a soul rotten with resentment, and from that day on, their hatred became a twisted hex. What he launched against you with dark rituals, with symbolic burials and binding spells of malice, has now been returned to him with a supernatural fury. His life today is a field of ruins. First, what was once power, control, and health crumbled into sickness, chaos, and despair. Second, that spiritual burial he dedicated to you, the grave he wanted to see you trapped in, has unearthed itself, and now he drags it with him in life. Third, while you advance, illuminated, protected, and blessed by guardian angels who never sleep, that person sinks deeper every day into their own energetic swamp, walking among invisible chains, breathing as if the air were denied to them. While your enemies fall in their own binding spells, you must decree your liberation. Right now, the fire of Saint Michael illuminates my path. And remember, give strength to this divine pact with your like and your subscription, because Saint Gabriel shows me that this action is not simple. It is the seal the universe uses to open your energy to what is coming. This is the moment you must seal your protection. Write in the comments, "The light of Saint Michael covers me," and you will be decreeing that the celestial sword cuts any attempt at binding they still try to hold over you. You have already won this battle, but it still burns on the astral plane. And it's not just that shadow from the past. No. The danger is not reduced to a single figure. 2 female energies joined this dance of witchcraft. 2 who feigned affection. 2 who might even carry your own blood. They allied in the shadows, played at being black magicians of ill will, moved rituals, asked for inverted binding spells to see you collapsed, sought to open portals with spiritual burials and forbidden cemeteries. But the fury of karma was activated, and now both are paying the price. One of them carries a serious illness. Her body doesn't respond, as if her own soul were being extinguished from within. The other wanders like a ghost in life, like a dry leaf dragged by a malevolent wind, without direction, without clarity, without understanding how everything spun out of control. You know it. The same demons they invoked are now the ones devouring them. And neither money, nor false prayers, nor hidden pacts are saving them. The price of their betrayal began to be collected the same day you said, "Enough." The instant you set boundaries, the threads of witchcraft broke, the binding spells snapped, and the dark energy began to return to its owners like a boomerang of damnation. Since then, their nights filled with insomnia, their days with losses and misfortunes, while you began to flourish. Yes, you are still healing wounds, but you are no longer in the abyss. Now your spirit climbs. Your soul reclaims the throne that always belonged to it. The Virgin and Saint Michael show me that the worst is already behind you, and that your victory is written in sacred fire. Leave your power comment, subscribe, and decree aloud, I am in the energy of the sun. By doing so, you activate the divine channel that shields you against any future attempt at harm. The cards have spoken, and what they reveal now is terrifying. The enemy who still breathes near you has not given up and is seeking one last forbidden resource to stop your progress. St. Michael shows me that your victory is already written. But he insists to me that to seal this protection, you need to pronounce it with faith. Leave in the comments, the sword of St. Michael cuts all evil. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because St. Gabriel says that by doing so at this instant, you activate the channel of light that opens your connection to the hidden knowledge that is coming. The burden is heavy, almost unbearable, and the images being revealed to me are disturbing, like shadows whispering from an open graveyard. However, I must continue with your channeling, because the script of your destiny has changed. Now it is no longer you who groans in the darkness. It is them, those who once played with your energy, who are trapped in an invisible dungeon. Today they are the ones drowning in their own darkness, swallowing the venom they prepared for you, every word they pronounced against you, every poisoned thought they sent like a hidden dart, every black candle lit with your name carved in wax, was extinguished at once by the hands of your guardian angels. The spiritual burials they mounted in secret, the twisted invocations, the inverted binding spells, everything turned against them like a time bomb that exploded in their own faces. What they attempted was brutal. They wanted to lock you in the energy of the Five of Pentacles, that state of spiritual misery where poverty, abandonment, and scarcity govern. They imagined you as a leaf torn from the tree of life, withered and lost, wandering without roots. But the spell exploded in their hands like a mirror that reflects malice back to the very face that launched it. Today, you enter the energy of the sun, and that changes everything. The sun is resurrection. It is fire that purifies. It is the lamp of the angels who accompany you in vigil. Now you walk in a new dawn, reborn after a storm that almost devoured your entire soul. God himself has extended his hand, and the archangel Michael has drawn in the air the sword of fire that cuts the threads of suffering that held you prisoner. Your path was not simple. You have bled on the inside. You have cried in secret. You have felt invisible daggers buried in your chest through betrayals that came from familiar faces. But those wounds were not in vain. They were the forging of your awakening. Now you know that real protection doesn't come from clay amulets or feigned prayers, but from the Creator and from the light that was always in you. The power you carry isn't bought at dark altars or learned from dusty grimoires. You were born with it. And it is that power that allowed you to survive demons disguised with smiles, false friends, rotten loves who swore affection while sharpening daggers. You yourself tore off their masks, and your light burned their disguises until their faces were left bare. Now there are no more deceptions. You see them, you feel them, you recognize them, even if they try to hide behind sweet words. You have opened your spiritual third eye, and that eye never closes again. You are awake, you are ready, and what comes now is glorious. What I am about to reveal to you next is not destined for everyone. Only the souls marked by the sacred mantle of the Virgin and the burning sword of the Archangel Michael will be able to understand the magnitude of what I am about to pronounce. Prepare yourself, because what you are about to hear is not a common message. It is an exorcism in words, a cleansing of your soul, a decree that crosses dimensions and makes the spirits of darkness tremble. I feel the vibration with brutal force. The witchcraft they launched against you is crumbling like rusted chains in a holy field. Those binding spells, those burials, those pacts they made in the shadows are beginning to unleash an even more macabre secret. Everyone who dared to mess with you is going to pay, one by one, like dominoes falling in an open cemetery. It doesn't matter how much they tried to hide their hands after throwing the stone. It doesn't matter if they feigned repentance, or if they now cry in silence, because your guardian angels are already in motion. You just have to give them a little time, the perfect amount of time for divine justice to be served like an unappealable sentence. Remember this message and keep it in your heart, because you will return to me when you see with your own eyes how everything that was sent to you returns, multiplied. Those spiritual burials they once assembled with your name written on papers stained with black wax have become the prison where they themselves are trapped. Those binding spells that they wanted to tie you with like a broken doll have come undone like rotten ropes. And now they are the ones who are chained, unable to move. Your angels, those tireless sentinels who walk with you, are sealing the door of your destiny. Saint Michael with his sword of fire, Saint Gabriel with the trumpet that announces judgments, the Virgin herself covering you with her mantle. All of them have entered the scene. There's no demon disguised as a friend, no resentful lover, no hypocritical relative who can flee the price that life has charged them. The payment has already begun. Some feel illnesses that bend them over as if they were carrying an invisible coffin on their backs. Others see how everything they touch turns to dust, as if misery and ruin have moved into their beds. And the most brutal part, neither their feigned prayers nor their pacts with shadows give them relief. Everything they built against you has become a mirror that now reflects back the face of their own evil. You, meanwhile, have to do nothing more than maintain your faith. You have sown your path with tears, but now you are harvesting light. They wanted to see you bent, defeated, in the gloom of scarcity. And instead, it is you who flourishes, who lifts your head, who walks with sure steps. Destiny has already spoken. Everything they launched at you is falling like acid rain on those who provoked it. You will return to this message. You will remember it, because what today seems like a warning will soon be your reality. The day it comes to pass, you will understand that what your angels promised you was more than comfort. It was a celestial decree, and when that day comes, you will return here, not with fear, but with the certainty that what was written in heaven never fails.